everyone, and welcome to Read This Now, the weekly webcast where Brad, Gustafson, and I share two books that we love and we think you should read. When, Brad?
Right now. We're going to live up to the show today, people.
Right this minute.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I love it. Well, so what you been reading this week?
Well, I'm here this week to confirm a book talk that you talked about recently, and it's all that plus a bag of chips. So good.
Oh, my goodness.
And the good news is, it's just the cadence of my reading here. I'm on like chapter 43, so I have a teeny bit of the book left, and I can assure you I won't give away the ending because I'm not even there yet. But the book
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Jen. Oh my gosh. You
know.
can never go wrong with Jen's book recs. It is.
Yes, and you posted that cover on Instagram, and it's the first time I've ever seen that cover. It's amazing. It is really cool. I love it.
Yeah, it is really beautiful and so meaningful. on a unrelated family gushing about my kids' story, sometimes they'll borrow me their books, and they're very particular about them, which I can appreciate. I am guilty of. I'm a dog ear person.
My goodness, no.
And one of my kids is not. She takes such good care of her books, and she's like, Dad, yes, I'll borrow it to you, but pretend it's from, she has a name for it, like some perfection, like a treating books very nicely library.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So my book, I'm using a bookmark here, Jen. It's a little straw wrapper in case anyone's wondering.
I love it.
But here, a couple quick things about this book. And I would encourage you to go back and listen to Jen's book talk on our archive or website eventually. But the beginning was reminiscent of Geronimo Stilton. I always loved when I taught second grade and as a reader, the maps in the beginning and all the characters. This one, so a lot of books have these, and I looked at it. But as I'm reading, and even today, before the show, I was kind of perusing it again, these places and the map, it's so meaningful. And Kelly Barnhill, Newbery winner from Minnesota, I believe.
Yes.
Her writing just makes it come alive. So as I went back and looked at the map after reading most of the book, it's just has so much more meaning. But in a nutshell, kind of the why am I loving this book? It feels timeless, and you alluded to that when you shared. There's a town that is almost perfect. People love each other. They look out for one another. They take care of orphans. And over time, the town shifts, and no one exactly knows what's happening. They all have ideas and theories, and it's kind of this weird, and it's almost like you're reading through fog. And I think Kelly sets it up intentionally. It's a little bit of magic, a little bit of fog, but like, is it the dragon's fault? Is it the mayor's fault? Is it the ogre's fault? And lots of different things happen, and it kind of keeps us guessing, but in a really authentic way where Kelly sets it up. I feel like we're one step ahead or two of the townsfolk. So our hearts and minds are like cheering for what they're doing and against what they're doing. She gives us just enough to be like super duper engaged, but also not enough where we know what's happening and we're also trying to figure out on our own. It's just this timeless balance. And I love the vocab and the weird, I was telling Deb, my wife, about this because sometimes I reflect, why do I love this book so much? It feels like a book I could have read 20 years ago, which is interesting, but yet it's literally like hot off the press, and there's just something really ridiculously cool about that. And so anyway, for all of those reasons and more, and I love lots of different things have voices and tell story, like the crows are a big part
I love
of the story.
The crows. The crows are one of my favorite characters in the whole book. I love them.
I love them, and it makes me love the cover even more because on this version of the cover, there's they just play such a role. But for all those reasons and more, you really do need to read this now. I believe Jenn, when she book talked it, and if you haven't had a chance to head to a local bookstore and buy it, now like two of us, we're ganging up on you. You really should.
That's right. What more do you need? I love this. One of the things that I think is so genius about that book that I've been thinking about since I read it, and it's one of those books you think about long after, like after you're done with it, it sticks with you for a long time, is, and this may seem unrelated, but the famous like suspense movie director Alfred Hitchcock once said something like, you put a bomb underneath someone's desk in a movie, but you don't let the audience or the characters know it's there, and that bomb goes off, then you provide, like, you give the audience and the characters a moment of like suspense and upset and horror and all that other stuff, right? But of emotional, like heightened emotion, you give them a moment of that when the bomb goes off. But if you put the bomb under the desk and you show the audience but not the characters, then you give that audience a much longer time of like heightened emotion, right? And I've been thinking about that in regards to the Ogress and the Orphans, because we spend like the first half of the book not knowing who's responsible for what's going on in the book. But about halfway through, the audience, we're told, we know what's happening. And so the rest of the time, we're sort of just like, we're waiting for these people to figure it out. You know, in literary terms, we would call that dramatic irony. That I don't see that all that much in books written for the age group that this book is for. And I just think Kelly Barnhill is like a magician. She did that so masterfully, because I could just imagine having these conversations with kids where they're just like, they've got to figure this out so that they can save the town. I just love that. I think that's such a great feature of it.
I'm so glad you shared that. It was really cool and resonated. And I think what Kelly also adds to that is peeling the layers of the onion back. So we do know some ahead of time, but yet the characters are evolving and we're gathering glimpses as it goes. So somehow she just paces it where, you know, we're just learning a lot. We're on the edge of our seats, we're cheering, but yet we're also wondering. And some of the stuff, there's like faint little bit of magic involved too. So you're just trying to sort out, okay, is this a teeny bit of magic or really, 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 really well done. Loving it. And last night, Deb and I were watching a show that we watched together on Netflix and love it. And it took my mind off this, but for at least it pained me initially to sit down because I was wanted to read this, you know, but eventually I got into the show. So anyway.
Awesome. I love it. Okay. So that Kelly Barnhill book, The Ogress and the Orphans, is one of my favorite books of 2022. And I'm about to share another book that I think is one of my favorite books of 2022, although it's very, very different. Okay. So it's a picture book, but it's really a picture book that I think is written for sort of that upper elementary level. Okay. And I love books like that. Although I would say certainly younger kids would love this book too. And it's called Endlessly Ever After. And it's by Laurel Snyder and Dan Santat. And have you seen this book yet, Brad?
No, but I recognize Dan's art right away. It's so awesome.
Okay, so then I'm going to give you a clue as to what it's about, but I'm going to read the first couple pages to you, okay? So it's called Endlessly Ever After, and then the subtitle is Pick Your Path to Countless Fairy Tale Endings, okay? So now you're going to have to be an active participant, Brad, in this read aloud that's about to happen, okay? But let me get there. I'll show you the pictures in just a minute. Well, actually, I'll give you a preview. Here's a preview of the spread, the art in the spread, okay?
So is this kind of like a choose your own adventure?
Oh,
sorry.
That's okay, not yet. Also, those words we can't say, and I'll explain why in just a minute, okay?
Okay.
Your mama shakes you out of bed. She says, my darling dear, you need to run to grandma's quick. She's feeling ill, I fear. Now, take this cake to cheer her up and have a lovely day, but mind the path, for danger tends to lurk along the way. So up you jump, you give a nod, and through the room you tear. But wait, you'll need to grab your coat. It's rather cool out there. What's next, Rosie? You're Rosie. Which coat will you wear? And I'm going to show you your two options in just a second, okay? To slip on your coziest faux fur coat, we'll turn to page 20, or to grab your favorite red cape, we're going to turn to page 6. So, which coat are you going to choose?
Yeah, I would go with the red one.
Okay, we're going to the red. So we're turning to page 6. Let's see what happens there. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
A wolf is waiting by the path out in the morning sun. I like your fine red cape, he says. You heading somewhere fun? I'm off to see my grandma, you tell your toothy friend. Her house is purple with a gate down at the very end. I haven't time to chat just now. I've got a ways to walk, but have a lovely afternoon. Another time we'll talk. The wolf just nods his furry head and quickly slips away. He flicks his tail and disappears into the sunny day. And standing on the path alone, you fear you've been unwise. You can't forget his claws or jaws, his shifty yellow eyes. You wish you hadn't met the wolf. You wish he didn't know exactly how you plan to walk and where you mean to go. Now what, Rosie? Are you going to let that wolf scare you away from your adventure? Option A, yes. Silly, wolves are no joke. To go back inside and start fresh tomorrow, turn to page 2. To take a deep breath and journey on, turn to page 50. And we're going to follow this adventure, Brad, until we meet an end.
I have to be honest. I would go back. I would start over. Fear the wolf.
Okay. All right. So now you're going back to page 2, which means that you have to choose your coat again. Are you going to choose?
Okay, I'll take the wool jacket. I knew I should have picked that the first time.
Okay. So now we're turning to page 20. Let's see what happens there. Okay. Inside your coat, as warm as toast, you skip through every glade. You'll soon be at your grandma's house and sipping lemonade. But when you get to down the path, you find you're somewhere new, a house you've never seen before. It's bricks at the door, bright blue. You know your grandma's waiting. She's sick and stuck in bed. But would it hurt to quickly knock on this fine door instead? So what are you going to do? You've wasted plenty of time already, and you know it. So to hurry to grandma's house, turn to page 44. Or to stop for just a minute and meet your new neighbors, turn to page 12.
We're going to grandma's.
We're going to grandma's. Okay.
We're going to grandma's.
Okay. Let's turn to page 44 then. All right. Your grandma's waiting for her cake. You will not let her down. But as you near her cottage, a shadow hits the ground. A wolf has found you, gives a grin. My furry friend, let's flee. I bet you're headed where I am, the deep woods jamboree. We're sure to find delicious treats and wolfish games galore. Why don't you wander off the path? Such fun we have in store. To head along with your new furry friend, turn to page 47, or to avoid the wolfish invitation, head on to grandma's house. And here's
grandma's.
I just want to show the picture. The wolf you see has mistaken you for another wolf in your coat. Okay,
God, that art is incredible.
I know. Okay, so this is the longest I have read through this book and not died. So this is exciting. Okay, Brad is keeping me safe. Okay, ready? Of course, you say no thanks and run as fast as you can flee. You get so hot you have to hang your coat upon a tree. But since you've stopped, you think you'll sit and take a tiny rest. And when you do, somehow the sun slips quickly to the west. At last you wake. It's gotten late. You have to go now quick. You scurry over to the path, but which way should you pick? Now look, we have a signpost, Brad. This way or that way? Which one are you going to choose?
We got to go this way.
Okay, we're going this way, so we're turning to page 76. Let's see here. Okay. You run until you find a house you've never seen before, with cocoa-coated gummy bits all stuck upon the door. The porch is made of toffee. There are no bricks. Instead, The walls are glazed with caramel and built of gingerbread. You knock at once, you whistle, you wait and wonder, and at last you try the knob and find it breaks off in your hand. You know someone must live here. It isn't yours to taste, but oh, it smells delicious. It shouldn't go to waste. Where did this cottage come from? How did you get waylaid? You swear you never left the path. You're not sure how you strayed. So you have two choices now. Are you going to take a wee little bite of the knob, or are you going to step inside the house and look around? Give you some options.
Both bad options. I'm going to walk in the house because I do not lick doorknobs. I do not eat doorknobs. I don't even like to touch doorknobs.
Okay. No, okay, this is a germaphobe's decision. We're to 59. Okay, you push the door and peer inside. You give a little shout. A girl and boy inside a cage? Of course you let them out. An evil witch, she trapped us. She means to make kids stew. You have to run. You have to come, or else she'll nosh you too. You sprint home quick to mama. You climb inside your bed. The world is full of scary things. You'll read a book instead. The end. Dum, dum, dum. Now, did you notice which fairy tale then got blended into this one? Kids, no. Okay, a house made of candy and kids trapped inside with a witch who wants to cook them.
What is that?
Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, okay.
Now, it all through the book, and we didn't veer very off of Little Red Riding Hood. We meet the three little pigs. We meet all sorts of other fairy tales that are woven in. So depending on which path you choose, it's like a remix of all sorts of different, because you can see some of them, like there's one of the three little pigs, there's a goose, etc. You're going to see, but we mix up lots of different fairy tales. It's sort of this mixed mashup of lots of fairy tales, depending on which path you choose. And there's something like 100 and some odd different endings that you could pick. Maybe I'm exaggerating that. Yes, depending on, I may be exaggerating that number, but there's a lot of them. And I want to be clear, I'm a big fan of choose your own adventure books, but that's a copyrighted resource. That's a copyrighted name. So this is a pick your own path, not a choose your own adventure, just to keep Laurel and Dan out of trouble. But one more time, it's The Endlessly Ever After by Laurel Snyder and Dan Santat. And I just think it's wonderful and kids are going to love it. I think you should read it right now.
Incredible.
Also, look how big this book is. It's just big and gorgeous. Like, just look. Yeah. Just big and gorgeous. Cool, I love it.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't know about that. Is that like an advanced review copy?
No, it just came out, but it came out in the last month. It's been out, I'm not even sure if it's been out a month yet.
Oh man, that's cool. Thank you.
It is awesome. It is awesome. You and your kids and the kiddos there at Greenwood Elementary and lots of kids around the world are going to love that book.
So cool. So Jen and I alluded to this spreadsheet that has other book talks, or at the very least I connected to it because Jen talked about this one before. So yes. If you want to go check out other titles and picture books and all kinds of genres, go to bit.ly/read_this_now and check it out.
You will not be disappointed, right? Keep you busy until next week, y'all. Until then, happy reading.